What's up, guys? Welcome to my home dojo. Today we're going to be looking at just some basics on inverting, how to do an inversion. And I've done some drills maybe here or there, but I haven't really taken the time to break it down. So, I bring it hard, guys. I'm always diving deep into those little details there and bringing them to you. So inverting, you don't necessarily need to be able to invert. It's not the most important skill, but it is useful, especially when you're younger and flexible and you play like more of an open guard game, reverse de la Hiva, bolo, de la Hiva. So I would consider it more of a modern style movement. And I remember when it was new, like, hey, what is this move? We used to just do shrimping and that was about it. Shrimping and that was it. So I'm just gonna take you through some of the basics, foundational work, and then some conceptual as well as some drills, okay? So hopefully you have mats at home. I know this is a tough time for everybody, and even for instructors, students, gym owners, everybody's having to cope with just having to change their model. So I know for me personally, I'm gonna switch over to more of an online model for the time being. So if you guys are interested in online privates, or online training, I'm gonna link one of the links below in the description box below. So guys, if you wanna learn more from me on a more personalized level, please check it out. And I'll keep putting out content like this. This is one of my passions for jiu-jitsu. But if you want more individual just instruction, please check it out below. So let's get into it, guys. Inverting is, again, it's not a prerequisite for being good at jiu-jitsu or having a good guard, but it's good to have more tools in your toolbox, okay? So let's just work on some really foundational stuff. And before I get into any of those crazy drills you might see online, I'm just gonna go to very basics. And the basics is the core. Working your core, having a strong core is the most important thing in being able to invert, guys. If you can't invert, or you have trouble inverting, usually it's your core. So I know a lot of big guys have trouble with their, sometimes you've been quarantined for a month, your stomach's getting bigger. So just realize that will impact your ability to invert, to do inversion. So, you gotta slim down a little bit first, guys, and it'll make it a lot easier because you can kind of compress yourself too much when you start to invert. So let's just start with the core. Building your core, basic exercises. So I'm just gonna kind of go through a few different exercises, guys, that help me, and also to warm up. It's gonna help you guys. If you want to invert, please warm up first. It's very easy to hurt your neck, your back, so just be careful. Warm this whole body part, your whole core, your upper body up before you try to invert, okay? So my favorite thing to do when I'm inverting are just to warm up my core, just basic crunches. So there's different variations on the crunch, typically we'll cross our legs in jiu-jitsu and we can do like cross choke. My audio is clipping very bad, so I'm just doing a cross choke sit up. And I always aim to do like maybe 10 repetitions, and I'll do sets of 2 to 3 or more depending on what your goals are. But if you're starting out, you don't want to burn yourself out too much. And just make sure you're focusing on getting your shoulders off the mat, going up and down, and try to reach and touch for your feet. That's the best way to go about it. But again, you don't want to burn yourself out. Don't burn your core out. You want to just progressively load it. So, maybe you can only do 1 or 2 right now, starting out, but eventually you can do 3, 4, 5. So that's the most important part. Warm yourself up. Now I'm going side to side with my ankle grabs. Another one, grabbing your hands behind your legs, making sure to bring those shoulders off the mat. And I prefer to keep my chin close to my chest, and it just gives me that tension I need to sit up. Now I'm gonna spread my legs out and then reaching in between my legs. You can do the same cross choke grip, or you can do like a kneading, kind of like if you're gonna knead some dough kind of movement. Doesn't really matter. Just want to make sure your arms go past your legs. And that was a really good one. So again, you gotta build your core. Before you can invert, you have to do the foundational movements like this. And you know, don't burn yourself out, but you also want to feel a little bit of a burn, guys. There's no easy way about it. You got to feel a little burn. Now I'm going to go into some crunches, or actually the butterfly or the bicycle. So elbows to your knees, making sure to twist your body side to side. That's also a good one. And you can also add more speed for that one. And then next we're going to do crunches, I believe. But if you need to take a break, guys, just take a little break. Do not just burn yourself out, because if you burn yourself out doing these drills, you won't be able to do the inversion drills later. So just, again, progressive load, take your time, build yourself up. And, you know, just listen to your body. That's the one thing I want you guys to understand. You need to be able to listen to your body, and just go slow. Don't be afraid to go slow. And so now I'm gonna do some crunches here. Old school crunches. You could do this with your feet on the mat. I kind of prefer to keep my feet off the mat. I feel like it's better for my lower back. And then elbows to knees. You can also cross your feet, kind of make it a little bit easier for you. And you know, that's the old school move right there. They forget to breathe, you know. You should be breathing, guys. That's where your power and your flow comes from, your breath, okay? You know, that's why in like traditional martial arts, they go, Kia! Muay Thai, they go, ah, ah, ah. So just controlling your breath. It's not something we talk a lot about in jiu-jitsu. There's different methods on that. Maybe I'll do another video on that. So don't worry about that for now, but just remember, breathe as you need to, breathe out, and just keep some type of rhythm in your breathing, okay? So now let's go more into like planking, more standing core work. So now I'm gonna plank. There's a million different ways to do planks, guys. Again, we're just trying to warm up. I'm gonna bend my forearms to the mat, and I can, you know, keep a fist or place my palms down into the mat. What I really want to focus on is going to my toes, and I want to try to keep my back as straight as possible. You know, if you have a slight bend, that's okay too. I'm just gonna try to keep it straight as possible here. And this is good for your lower back too. You know, lower back, your core, your abdomen. We have to keep all of those warm, get them all warmed up. And sometimes I'll do a timer for maybe like 30 seconds or less, you know, build gradually. So if you can only hold for 5 seconds, hold for 5 seconds and do maybe 3 to 4 sets of that. If that's easy, switch to longer time, more sets, okay? All right, now I'm starting to feel a good burn. All right, so yeah, starting to feel good. From here, you know, you can always relax your core to the mat, your abdomen to the mat. I'm gonna tuck my toes down so they're on the floor. Now I'm just gonna press up into like a downward facing dog, I believe. Upward facing dog? Yeah, I believe it's upward facing dog. It's been a while since I've done yoga, guys. Don't beat me up in the comments too bad. So press my hands into the mat. And really try to stretch your shoulders back, like they're gonna reach your heels. If you want to, look up towards your ceiling or whatever you have up above your head. And man, I can tell you I feel a stretch in my core. Oh, in my abs. To get a deeper stretch, we can look over our shoulders, look towards your feet. Look over to the other side. Whew. Okay. One more exercise before I start getting more into the jiu-jitsu specific movements. We're just gonna do, they call this like cat-cow in yoga. So I'm just gonna post my legs on the mat. Try to get your knees about hip width or shoulder width apart, not too far. And I'm gonna compress my body down towards the floor. So I'm bending my lower back down, and then I raise it up. Okay. So you'll see a lot of, you know, cats and dogs will do stretches like this all the time. So we're just pretty much mimicking them. Just do this a few times. You know, in yoga, you go by your breath. But this isn't yoga. This is jiu-jitsu, man. Let me turn so you guys get a better angle. So I'm here compressing my stomach towards the mat, pulling my shoulders up towards my ears. And then I release I bring my back up like a cat, an angry cat. If you hear some pops, that's okay too. All right. So now, my core is reasonably warmed up, and now let's get into more specific jiu-jitsu movement. So I'm just going to perform a little rocking motion. So I'm going to hold around my legs and just rock forward and backwards, okay? And, this is one move I always thought was super easy, but, I've worked with so many students over the years. I've been teaching since 2006. Man, sometimes people, they have never done anything athletic before. They sit at their computer. So some of these movements, while they seem very basic, they're very necessary. They're very human movements. But if you think about it, we don't really move like humans of the past. We sit at our desks, we sit in chairs, we sit in our cars. Like, we're always sitting. Very rarely are you squatting or moving and twisting your body, right? So some people, they're so stiff. They really need movements like this. So if you have a friend or family member that's trying to get into fitness, possibly share this video with them, or someone else's videos. Just whatever gets people moving and being healthy and being better versions of themselves. So I'm just gonna hold my legs and I'm just gonna rock back. If you want to, let's try not to put our head on the mat right now. So kind of tuck yourself in like a ball, and I'm just gonna rock forward and backwards. Just nice and easy. I'm pretty stiff, guys. I haven't been stretching. Okay. So when I rock up, I'm gonna turn my angle here. When I rock up, I like to use my heels towards the mat. So if we're doing like a sit-up guard, sit up, I'll use that leg to rock up. So I'm kind of rocking forward and back, using my legs to move me forward, okay, and back. Oh, I can hear a few pops, so this is good. And I'm gonna do this for at least 10 reps. Really get all the pops out. I've got an absurd amount of pops today. I don't know why. Just like that. Oh. Yeah, my back is talking. Okay? And so that's a very good movement, getting used to rocking your back like that, guys. Because when you invert, the more natural that feels, the better it's going to be for you. Okay? So I'm going to take a little pit stop for my movements, and let me warm up my neck too, because that's one thing a lot of people forget to do. And there's a lot of ways to warm your neck up, but let's look at some very basic, super basic. This is like super basic video, guys. This is like white belt day 1, don't know anything. How can I do this stuff? So I'm going to kind of turn back into you. And there's different ways to warm our necks up. Let's just start with easy movement. I'm just going to look down and up towards the ceiling. And I want to relax my arms as much as possible, so I'm not super tense. I know for me personally, sometimes I'm tense. I don't know why. I'm just kind of too tight. And then I have to consciously, okay, relax. So this is one of those movements where you want to be relaxed. Okay, and don't fight gravity too much. Kind of use gravity to help you pull that head down. And I would go nice and easy. Some people, they go too fast when they're doing this stuff. Okay. And again, just like with our core, we don't need to abuse it. We just need to warm up. Okay, now I'm just going to look over my shoulder, keeping my head forward, and I'm going to look shoulder to shoulder. And so you're probably going to notice one side is not as flexible as the other side. So that's okay. It's just natural. There's always going to be variations in your body, imbalances, just from everyday life. Again, don't fight it too much. Okay. Now, you keeping the same head alignment. I'm going to go ear to shoulder. It's okay if you hear a few pops. You might hear a few pops on this video. It's just me. Again, make sure to breathe, guys. Breathe. Oh, yeah. There we go. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use some rotational force. So I'm just gonna keep my head relaxed, and I'm kind of combining all the movements together. So I like to go in one direction for a little bit and just go nice and easy. You know, if my neck is super tight, then I'll go even slower, or I might even just skip the movement and just do another movement instead. This feels like a yoga class, guys. I didn't know it was gonna turn into a yoga class. Now I'm gonna do the other side. Again, I don't need to go super fast. If your neck kind of injured, I know my neck was a little tight today for some reason. Maybe I slept wrong. I'm just gonna look, instead of going fully around, I'm just gonna go shoulder to shoulder. And then as you warm up, you can go add that rotation. Oh, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but my neck is popping. There you go, just relax that thing. All right, let me, All right, so I feel a little loose and warm, so man, that's perfect. That's what you want. You know, sometimes you're sore or you feel bad. If you just stretch a little bit and move around a little bit, man, I'm 100% certain it's gonna make you feel better. So let's look at inverting, okay? So I'm gonna go back to that rocking motion that we did earlier. All right, so that's very important. I remember when I first started jiu-jitsu, that was like, this is one of the moves that gave me a hard time, and it took me a few years before I felt comfortable getting into this position. So what I'm going to do, you know, they do this in yoga too, but they're not trying to beat people up when they do this in yoga. When I was doing that rocky motion, I was just kind of going a little bit over my head and then coming back. Now I'm just going to start by keeping my head on the mat, and of course my lower back's going to come off the mat. But I want you guys just to grab your feet, okay? So I can hook my toes. You know, yoga, they grab the big toe. And I'm just gonna hold here, all right? What I'm trying to do is just stretch my hamstrings out, okay? And if I need to, I can kind of, you know, they'd call this like a resting pose or baby pose or something in yoga. I'm just gonna kind of stretch my leg, okay? Just to loosen them up a little bit. And as you warm up, I can start to slowly pull my legs over my head, okay? A little bit of this movement is in your hamstrings, guys. If you're tightening your legs, you know, it's gonna impact you. If you're tightening your core, it's gonna impact you. If you're tightening your hips, it's gonna impact you. If you're tightening your neck, it's gonna impact you. So we have to, your whole body has to be connected. So back to my video, you know, that movement that I'm doing is really good for your stretching your hamstrings and your calves. And I'm just trying to get my toes over my head. So just ease into it, guys. You know, you want a progression, slow and steady. And you really want to warm yourself up. That's the key. If you feel like it's hurting, you're hurting yourself, or you feel pain, you know, you're going too far, you can always kind of dial it back a little bit. And then if you feel like, okay, I'm getting warmed up, my body feels more limber, you can go farther. But eventually, you know, you want to get your feet going past your head. Sometimes, like, I know, especially with beginners, you see a move like a bolo or some type of pass, crazy pass, leg drag, crab ride thingy, and then you want to do it, but you haven't put in the time for your body to be prepared to do those moves. Like, you know, jiu-jitsu guys have strong ligaments, like very tough and strong. And sometimes we do stuff that's not the best for your body. It's a little crazy, but our bodies, because we do it for so long, like we just get so used to moving like that, that maybe a new guy might be able to replicate it, but it's not sustainable. So that's why I'm always saying, hey, go slow, practice, prepare your body for the movement, okay? That's something I wish someone told me, because I got injured a lot as a blue belt, cocky blue belt, because I would do these crazy moves, but if I just focus on proper movement skills, man, I would have avoided like 80–90% of the injuries that I've had over the years. Just by being smarter, having proper movement, and knowing how your body's supposed to move, okay? Sometimes you overestimate your body, you put your body in these compromised positions, and then listen, man, that body breaks down, you know, it's gonna be rough. So back to my movement. And what you're noticing, hopefully you notice, I'm starting to go more on the back of my neck. So I'm off my back completely and I'm on the back of my neck, okay? So that's key. Also, as I'm doing this, I'm starting to bring my legs more wide, okay? I can keep my legs closer, but it's gonna be a little bit tougher. All right, guys, so I feel a lot more warmed. So now I'm gonna actually put my feet onto the mat, and again, like I've been saying, build slowly. I'm gonna hold for maybe a second and then keep building longer periods of time until I feel more and more warmed up, okay? And if I can, I start more with my legs wide, and then I can slowly start to bring them in closer towards my head. Again, guys, go slow, listen to your body. If you feel like, hey, I did a lot today, I've never done an inversion, I've done a lot, you can stop here. But I'll keep going with more advanced movements, okay? So back to my legs. So I'm here, I don't know how the audio is gonna sound. Let's hope for the best here, man. So once I'm here, I know my legs are getting closer towards the mat. Now I'm gonna switch from the toes, however you were holding your toes, doesn't matter, different ways. I'm gonna switch to either inside my legs or outside my legs, okay? Outside my foot. So now I feel pretty limber. So let's go even more advanced. So I was going outside with my legs. Now I'm gonna bring them in closer, okay? And in close, when I say closer, closer towards my head. Before they were outside, I'm gonna start to bring them closer towards my face, all right? And then progressively holding my legs, okay? So now I've been able to get my feet on the mat, outside, now closer towards my head. Now I'm gonna get more strict in my form. So now I'm gonna tap into my hamstring mobility, my calf mobility to start extending my legs straight. So now, before I was just I was happy to get my feet to the mat. Sometimes my feet don't go to the mat, over my head to the mat. So now I'm gonna start to really get into the position. So you see this a lot more in yoga. So I can keep holding my legs. I also will switch to my hip and kind of support my lower back. So I'm gonna use more mobility in my legs now, okay? So this is like more advanced progression. Go at your own pace, but eventually you want to strengthen yourself in these positions. Some flexible people can hold themselves in the position, but they don't do it with strength. They rely more on flexibility. Now I'm combining my strength with my flexibility, which is what you need in jiu-jitsu. You have to be strong in those flexible, weird, kind of funky positions, okay? And I'll give multiple angles on this, guys. So it was here. I got my legs to the mat. Pretty easily. Not easily, but I got my legs to the mat. Now I'm gonna start to let go of my legs and then start to straighten for my hamstring and my calf towards the mat. Oof. And so you can hold it, you know, for me it's pretty tight, tough on my back, so I don't hold it too long. So I'll do a few reps of that, just extending my legs as straight as I can. All right, so we did that little rotation movement, and that's very good. I used to do that a lot for warming up, just side to side. You know, you could add some speed to help you. Now we're gonna look at the Granby roll. So we call that like a sideways roll, and they do it in wrestling to get off. If someone's got your back, you can kind of spin them off. In jiu-jitsu, we use it for inversion. So I'm here. I'm gonna start on one side of my mat. I got, you know, my dojo's small, guys. We ain't living luxurious over here, man. But I do have a little bit of space, so I'm gonna make sure that I don't go off the mat here. And I've taught this move a lot of years. This move takes some practice, so I'll make sure to go slow and get some good angles for you guys. And the easiest way to do this is to find some type of line. So on my mat, I have a line here. You know, maybe I can add some arrow or something here. And I want to try to maintain my body on that line. And so I can tell you that whenever I show this move, the hardest part for people to do is to keep their body close. So to keep their upper body glued to their lower body as low as they can. So you have to resist the urge to open up. All right, so I'll start by bending my legs. I can also do this without my legs. I think it's a little bit easier to start with bending your legs, and then guys, I'll add how to do it with your legs straight, okay? So I'm bending my legs, and you know, I can tuck my arm between my legs or behind my back. If you're just starting this type of movement, let's start with your hand behind your back. And again, I'll show different angles for you guys, but it acts as like a guideline, okay? So I'm here, again, keep your upper body close to your lower body. And like I was going with the first inversion, pulling my legs to my head to the floor, let my legs over my head to the floor. I wanna get the back of my neck onto the mat, and I wanna keep my shoulder on the floor, okay? So I'm just gonna go, so I wanna keep pulling my head close to my legs, okay? To help me, I'm gonna walk my feet on the floor, guys. So little ballerina steps, okay? So here, guys, again with that Granby roll, you wanna stay on your shoulders as much as possible. That's the biggest issue with everybody. They wanna open up. So, you know, you wanna go elbow, shoulder, back of the neck, and then repeat it to the other shoulder, other elbow. And, you know, really keep your chest close to your legs. Like, you want your chest glued to your legs as much as possible, because when you start opening up, it's gonna throw the roll off a lot. So again, that's the hardest part for every beginner I've taught this to, is just keeping their chest to their legs. And from there, you know, it's actually gonna be tougher if you go slower, and when you start adding momentum, it goes a lot easier. So you can see I'm kind of switching my arms as soon as I go to the other side, and your arm acts like like a guide rail. So the analogy I used was like, if you're bowling, you know, when you learn how to bowl for the first time, they have like little kid rails, the guide rails, and that will keep you straight. And you know, I like to pick a line. So if you have mats with like lines, or you know, just some type of guide, you know, you could put tape on your mat and try to keep that line, so don't veer off that line too far. And just showing you some more angles. Again, that arm's behind my back, and I use that to kind of support myself and force myself to lean forward. Again, chest to the knees, the thigh area, keep your head down. And as soon as I roll, you know, I'm also going to utilize my feet to keep me on that plane, the right line. And whenever I do this move, when I keep my feet on the mat, you know, not everyone can keep their feet on the mat, but if you can keep your feet on the mat, that's going to help you out a lot, guys. And so I'll kind of walk a little bit. Again, if you use momentum, it's going to be a lot easier. But if you want to make like the progression is to actually go slower, and that way you have to really utilize your mobility. But we can kind of cheat when we use when we use momentum. We can cheat a lot, and you know, don't get too dizzy. And so this is the basics of inversion. So here, that arm's behind my back, elbow, shoulder, back of the neck, and then I go shoulder, opposite elbow, and then my arm comes over again. There we go. And you should have a fluid motion, fluid movement. You know, nothing too crazy, guys. It's just time into position, and you just can't rush it. You just gotta like get on the floor and build this position. And you get more comfortable the more you do it. I remember when I first started training, I think I touched on it in this video, but when I first started training, you know, just putting my feet to the mat was tough. You know, I couldn't do it. It was a very unnatural movement. And so, just like everything, you know, you have to build yourself, prepare yourself to do it. All right. So that is the Granby roll inversion. If you can do that, you can do any type of inversion. So I'm going to add a little bit more details. So how to do it without using your arms. But once you realize you can do it without your arm, or with your arm, and then you're ready to take the training wheels off, man, the world is yours. Okay. So I can keep my legs straight. It doesn't matter. I like to keep my legs straight. If you want to, you can keep your legs bent. Doesn't matter. And now I'm doing the same things, except instead of keeping my arm behind my back, I'm just going to use my core and my muscle memory to keep me straight down. Okay. And you know, you can even bring your arm between your legs. That's another way. So now, guys, I'm just gonna go straight, and you know, ideally, if you're gonna be playing guard and inverting, Kiss of the Dragon, bolo, whatever you got. And as you get better, guys, you can start to add momentum, and that will help you. But if you really want to get better at this, it's the slower you go. Look, I'm a little off. The slower you go, the better it's going to be. Let me go really slow. And you know, I still use my arms a little bit to kind of keep myself in line, but you know, you don't really need it. That was the basics of inverting, inversions, and again, you don't have to do this to have a great guard, but it will help when you start delving deeper into like bolos, reverse Elahiva, Kiss of the Dragon, Matrix, all those moves, you know. So the more mobility you have, the more flexibility you have, it's going to help your guard. That's undeniable in guard, man. People that are flexible have great guards. They're gonna have an easier time developing their guard. But if you feel like you're tighter, you know, we all have limitations, but you can always, it's not easy, but you can add more flexibility, more mobility, and it's gonna pay off dividends in your guard. And you know, start early. You know, a lot of people, I know a lot of upper belts, they never stretch and they're super tight. But once you start moving, it's like, man, it makes you feel so much better. So when I started the video, I was cold, I had to warm up. Now I'm warmed up, my body's flowing, man, I feel great. And I haven't done anything, I just moved on my mat. So I know this is a tough time for everybody. So if you wanna share this video, please do. I hope it helps people. And again, if you're looking for more individual instruction or you need help with your game, maybe your instructor has a different style than you, or maybe you're short. You know, I'm the king of the short guys, man. You got me. I got you guys, I got you. So, you know, check out my online private lessons, my online instruction, and I should have some email or link below or somewhere here in the video. So guys, I hope you enjoy this video. I hope it helps you. I hope you guys stay healthy and safe. And of course, you know, until next time, guys, peace, peace, peace. Peace out.